So right now there's a pretty hot discussion, a hot topic on Twitter talking about good game, GG. Do you say it after a game of Pokemon? For myself personally, I always say good game regardless if I win or lose. I grew up playing competitive sports and just non-competitive sports. Like even after gym class, you would say GG's to your opponent and stuff. And so, just to have good sportsmanship and just to never ever be a sore loser, you always say good game no matter the outcome of a match. Now, this is a really big deal in the Pokemon community because apparently if you say good game to your opponent and your opponent believes it wasn't a good game, they get upset and they get salty about it. And there's a lot of sore losers in the Pokemon community, not gonna lie. A lot of the times I go to Pokemon card tournaments and there's some people that I know that no matter how they're gonna lose, they're always gonna be a sore loser. So I really like to say good game to those people. That is today's common question of the day. Do you say good game after a game? It's crazy to me that this is like, people get offended if you say good game to them. I just think it really shows how soft society has become for certain things. Today's video, we're gonna be talking about how I won the very first Pokemon card tournament I played this deck at. This was the Miraidon Joltik deck. Now, if you guys don't know, I just dropped a full deck profile guide to this deck over on my channel yesterday. Ever since this Miraidon list has come out and I've been playing it, I have won 2 tournaments. I've gotten like 3rd and 4th, and then top 5. Like I am dominating at local tournaments with Miraidon, and it feels amazing because this is a deck I genuinely thought would not be a actual thing anymore after rotation because we lost a lot of cards. But no matter what happens, it seems after every rotation that Miraidon is still playable and it's still good. And I really think right now the way the meta is currently shaping up, it's just the perfect storm, the perfect mix of things where this deck hits some of the best popular matchups and the most powerful decks for basically a counter, and it also has just really good game plans against every deck in general. So if you want to learn how to play this Miraidon deck, I'll leave the link in the description down below. I would love if you binge watch it after. Find out why so many other people are also doing so successful with this list and the fun, creative list I've been cooking up for my own Miraidon box, because you guys know I've been in the kitchen cooking some stuff up. And actually talking about the kitchen, let's go say hi to Rosie and Vogan real quick and see how they're feeling with rotation. Hello Rosie, how are you today? How are you doing? Good talking to you. Vogan, how are you today, Vogan? Okay, good talk, guys. Good talk. No comment? If you don't know the story behind this tournament, I saw the list at 3 a.m. and I said, this list looks good. Had 0 practice with the list. And this is one of the first times I've ever done this in my life, where I brought the full 60 card list to a tournament with 0 practice games. That said, we're gonna go over every single matchup that I played at this Pokemon card tournament. This is the tournament that I played at Sunny Hobbies. I was originally gonna go to another store called PvP. I was there the other day actually, where I went 4-1 with Miraidon. And Miraidon actually won first place at that tournament too. PvP was doing a League Cup and I was sad I couldn't go, it was sold out. But Sunny Hobbies was doing like a box tournament. So basically first prize was a full booster box of Journeys Together. I was like, oh, it's not gonna be that sweaty because I'm sure a lot of the players, or like top players in Toronto, are either at the regional that was taking place that weekend or they're at this cup. And my friend Sergio Rodriguez was there, and he is a Worlds qualifying player from last year. He's a really, really strong player. He was playing Future Box. And fun fact, I was actually gonna play Future Box to this tournament if I didn't have the 2 cards I needed to borrow, or 3 cards I needed to borrow from Sergio. I needed to borrow a second Pikachu EX because I only owned 1, because you only play 1 in original Miraidon. I didn't have a Blood Moon. I lost my full art Blood Moon, so I was pretty sad about that. So he had an extra Blood Moon. We're not going to go heavily into the editing because I spent way too much time editing the Miraidon deck profile yesterday. I think I so many hours yesterday editing it. So we're just going to show the cards, the main Pokemon in the matchups, and we're gonna go there. It's gonna be more of a chill, laid back vibe. One last thing, this was a Pokemon League Cup style tournament. So there was, I believe, 16 players. I think we needed 18 to make it top 18 or top 8 cut. But we were like, I think, short a couple players, so it became top 4 cut. So it was a cup style tournament where it was Swiss rounds, and then they would take the top 4 players. and then that would be best 2 out of 3 for those following matches. Using this wireless microphone, I never really use this wireless microphone, but I figured we would give it a try for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about the mic quality. I was very tempted to hold a jumbo Pokemon card, like attach it to that, but whatever. It's almost like therapy. It's like I'm doing a little Pokemon therapy session with you guys. I can chill on this couch. I just want to make sure it's like at a good angle, not awkward for anybody. Everybody in the club, get in. Okay. Oh no! I love code names. I love code names. One last thing, I am a sponsored competitive Pokemon player by the store Comfy Hobbies. So if you guys want to buy any Pokemon cards at all, check out the friends at Comfy Hobbies and shop with code SneakerTalk to save 5% off. I'll have them linked down below. And I'm doing a restock on my eBay store soon. We did open up the booster box we won and a booster box of prize packs, so I have a lot of cards to refill on the store. So round number 1, we played against Golden Go EX to Dunsparce. This was a matchup where they had prized their, I believe their Evo TM, so it was a little rough for them. And it was, I think, their first time playing this deck as well, so they were definitely going to be making some misplays here. Typically how the Golden Go to Dunsparce matchup, or just the Golden Go matchup works, is we really want to set up our Pikachu EX and just one-shot the Golden Go's time after time. And then if we have an extra energy on it, if we're able to just crisp in the next turn, we can just use Topaz Bolt once again. This matchup went really smoothly. My opponent did make a couple misplays in terms of setting up and stuff. And yeah, we just kind of ran away with it. Round number 2. Round number 2 was a little scarier because they didn't have, they didn't play the Dunsparce. They played Golden Go as well, but with Scizor. Now, Scizor is a pretty cool tech card that some Golden Go decks play, some Marchelodon decks play. I believe it does for 1 Steel Energy, you do 10 damage, and then 50 for each ability your opponent has on board. So it's a really good single prizer attacker that also does not have an ability, so you can attack certain Pokemon like Cornerstone Mask, Ogerpon, and whatnot, and it really punishes decks that have a lot of abilities in them, such as Miraidon, because EXs, all the EXs we play, pretty much have a lot of strong abilities on them. This matchup, they did not get set up as much either, just like the first Golden Go EX. They were able to set up, I believe, 1 Gimmighoul. We amped it, and then we didn't see another Gimmighoul for a while. A Scizor did end up taking a knockout because I had so many ability-heavy Pokemon on the board. When you just have the momentum going second, it really sets the tone for the entire matchup. Win against Golden Go EX Scizor. So now we are 2 wins and 0 losses. Round number 3 was probably the toughest opponent, like the toughest, one of the toughest matchups for the day. This was Gardevoir EX with Secret Box. Now, when I saw that I was playing Gardevoir EX, like I was doing some scouting ahead of time, I was like, okay, cool. As long as my opponent doesn't set up like Klefki turn 1, and isn't able to set up the Monkey Dories as well, I should be able to have like pretty much a free matchup. But you guys know, when you hit a Gardevoir player, it's almost never free. It's always a close one. I also had in mind that when I saw the matchups that Sejun Park had played to get top 32 in Korea, he had beat 3 Gardevoirs. So I was like, whoa, this should be really free, right? He was 3-0 against Gardy. They went first, and my opponent hit the nuts. They did play Secret Box on their turn 1, but they also played like Earthern Vessel, and I believe even a Carmine at one point with their Secret Box. By the end of their first turn, I think they had 5 or 6 Psychic Energies in their discard pile. And this is not the Brilliant Blunder build. We are talking about Secret Box build. On top of that, they had 1 Ralts, 1 Monkey, or 2 Ralts, I believe. And then to add Salt on the Wound, they dropped in their Klefki. And Klefki is probably one of the big weaknesses that this deck has. You can play around it. There's definitely ways you can play around it, but with Klefki in the active, it does turn off your Miraidon's tandem unit, which is pivotal to get that Joltik and your attacker out. It does turn off Latias as well, meaning you need an extra step to retreat. You can't just have Latias for the retreat. You have to have the rescue board, for example. As a Miraidon player going second, if your opponent goes first and plays a Klefki, it really does potentially slow us down. I believe I tried to play to like all of my outs on my first turn, and I unfortunately was I was not able to fully charge up 4 energies with my Joltik. I was only able to charge up 3. I had to use Crispin to get an attachment on my Pokemon to retreat into the Joltik, and then I had my Joltik charge up, I believe, an Iron Hands. But because I wasn't able to have my optimal start and I didn't get 4 energies charged, I got 3. It was definitely a sort of an uphill battle. And then the energy, oh, hello Rosie. Oh my gosh, hi, hi. It was definitely a trickier one because of the Klefki. And then their turn 2 was nuts. They were able to just flood the board with even more stuff, and they were just playing it so well. They were hit like everything. They were just drawing the nuts all game. And that Klefki again is such a big hindrance in the matchup. So be aware of Klefki. It was pretty close. I think by the end of it, this whole tournament was literally 2 weeks ago, so my memory isn't as fresh. But he did end up winning, and I did make a couple of definite misplays because this was my first time playing. I was putting my EXP share on Pokemon who really didn't need EXP share. I was over benching, like I was thinning out my Joltik out of my bench or out of my deck with Tandem Unit for no reason, honestly, because they already had knocked out one Joltik, so I'm like, oh, I'll set up my other Joltik and get the Galvantula out, and then they would just Monkey Dory KO that one instead, I believe. I was definitely making some questionable plays, and I definitely got punished for it, and so we lost to Gardevoir. And I was like, dang, okay, well, in order to make top cut, we had to win this next game, and this next game was a very, very close challenge as well. We played against another subscriber who actually found me through, I think, TikTok or Instagram for my Wugtrio Mill deck list, which was pretty funny. So this trainer was playing Hopsation with Monkey Dory, the Dark Package. Now, if you guys don't know Hopsation, it's probably going to be my number 2 most played deck in this format, this current meta that we have. I really like Hopstation, but the version I'm playing for Hopstation is the Switch Heavy build, which has Iron Valiant and Surfer, no Dark Energies. But if you want to play Hopstation, I think the most competitive and most refined list at the moment and most popular and like doing well version of it is the Hopstation with the Dark Package. So you have the Dark Energies, the Monkey Dory in there as well, and it's really, really strong. For this game, my opponent chose to go, I think I won the coin toss actually. Yeah, I won the coin toss, I chose second. My opponent was able to have a Tatsuguri, and then I think it was like a Cramorant or a Hop Snorlax on the bench, just so they wouldn't get like instantly knocked out. Now, I went for this really greedy play, and I was like, oh, I can just pop off with this Clefairy. So I throw in my Lily's Clefairy, and actually it was like my only option because I was kind of bricking a little bit. I only had Lily's Clefairy and I think a Joltik and maybe one other thing, but I couldn't go for the typical turn 2 line where you want to go Joltik into whatever. I actually think I played maybe 3 Crispins in a row that game. It was it was looking really cooked. So I got the turn 1 KO on their Tatsuguri with my Clefairy, and then on their follow-up turn, because Lily's Clefairy is weak to Steel-type Pokemon, he was able to, you don't even need an attachment for turn with Hopsation, you just have to put it on the band. So he was able to 1-hit KO my Clefairy by having, I believe, Hopswick, and then the Snorlax, and then the band, and then you're swinging for 120 damage, I believe, plus times 2 for weakness, so you cook my Clefairy, and I was like, wow, I really thought I had the potential to just win in like 2 turns, and then when they top-decked the Nest Ball Furzation, or they top-decked the Hops VIP Pass, whatever, I was like, oh crap, I'm cooked. From there, I was able to claw my way back and get the prize trade down to the point where I just needed I needed 1 prize left, and they also, I think, also needed 1 prize left, so they couldn't go for like a counter catcher play by the very end of it, and I had to hit them with this Iono, and the Iono was perfect because I Iono them to 1. They had game in hand if I didn't Iono them, and we only run 1 Iono, you could say I also got lucky because I did do a lot of deck thinning, but we only play one Iono, and my Pokegear gave me the Iono on the very last card. So I Iono'd him the one, and I prime catchered up, I believe, a thick Pokemon like Snorlax or something he couldn't just retreat, because the Munkidori build doesn't really play much like switching effects or anything like that. It doesn't have like jet and stuff like that, like the switch build that I have. So I knew that I'd be able to trap him in the active, and so I was able to buy an extra turn and then use Blood Moon Ursaluna to clean up. Now, one really good thing in the matchup is Zacian cannot hurt your Pikachu EX on the bench, because Pikachu has the Terra typing, but Pikachu was a big threat in the matchup. I was able to basically like hit and run with the Pikachu, and because I was hitting him for 300 with 1 KO options, I would leave no damage counters on the board, so his Munkidori's couldn't do any like diabolical evil plays against my my Pikachu by putting a damage counter on it ahead of time. That was really, really big. But one really cool play he managed to pull off was, you know how you attack with Snorlax and the Snorlax hurts itself for like half its health? So if Snorlax attacks twice, it just knocks itself out. But Munkidori removes 30 damage, so you're able to throw that 30 onto the Pika. So he was able to knock out one of my Pikachus that way. And I was like, oh, that's a sick play. I did not think about that. That is another weakness I learned about this Miraidon deck, is that the Pikachu is absolutely vulnerable to poison package decks and Munkidori decks, because if you're turning off the Pikachu ability, that's one of the best things it has going for it. So yeah, did keep that in mind, and I narrowly won that game by the skin of my teeth, if that's how the saying goes. But yeah, hardly won it, and it was a really fun, good game against a subscriber. So locked in for top cut now. We are 3 wins and 1 loss. Round number 5 was top 4, and this was going to be best of 3. We played against the homie, I believe his name is Michael, and he was playing Dragapult EX. Now, this was a spicy version of Dragapult EX, a version I've never seen before in my life. It featured Pidgeot EX, but can you guess what the ace spec was? The ace spec was not Prime Catcher, it was not Sparkling Crystal, it was not Unfair Stamp. This was Dragapult EX with Pidgeot featuring Survival Brace. Yeah, Survival Brace, of all ace specs. For this matchup, I wasn't really necessarily 100% sure how the matchup goes. It was my very first time playing it, so I was kind of like learning on the fly. But typically when you know that you're going to be going up against decks that are stage 2, it means you're going to likely be able to at least utilize Iron Hands EX for the Amp You Very Much a couple turns throughout the game or throughout the match. The very first game, I honestly can't remember everything, but for the very first game, we did lose. It was, I want to say it was maybe a 20-25 minute game 1. It was a long game. It was really, really close. It came down to me making some very pivotal mistakes by overbenching. I learned the hard way that the bench real estate in this deck is very, very important. I've been so spoiled by previous versions of Miraidon with Area 0 that I don't get punished for overbenching. You actually get rewarded for just going wide with the older Miraidon. But this one, every bench space really, really matters. So I was benching an extra Joltik for no reason. I'm not playing the Galvantula EX in the list, not yet. But I had the regular Galvantula, the baby one, and then I just would set up the other Joltik for literally no good reason, just to thin out cards so I could have a better chance at drawing better cards, and that would clog my bench, and that would hurt me in the end. And my opponent Michael was doing some really smart plays where I had Pheasantipity on the board, but he was going about ways to knock me out, where he would take 4 or 6 prize cards in one turn, or like a massive board wipe, therefore to avoid him activating my Pheasantipity. So because he wasn't activating my Pheasantipity, and I think I overbenched by not letting myself put down Mew for onboard draw, I got punished really hard, and he cooked me, and he took like a massive board wipe by the end of it, like a big 4 prize turn, and I was just like, he would keep counter catching or boss stalling out Pokemon, and I might have had Mew, but I definitely did not have Latios, and Latios is really important to get that free retreat at all times. So game 1 we lost. Game number 2 we had It's 50 minutes, so we had 35 more minutes left for 2 full games, which was like, oh god, it's gonna be really close. I'm gonna like try and win this as quick as I possibly can. So game 3, we have a lot of time to play. We were kind of equally getting set up. He was able to get multiple Dreepies down and start item locking me, but I also, because I lost, I got to choose second and get my optimal start, and I was able to just go Ampivery Munch once, Ampivery Munch twice, and I think I pretty much had like game on board for like at least 10 minutes or so. Like I had checkmate, and I was setting up the Clefairy play for the big last hit KO on their Dragapult. And this is where like the survival brace was really annoying. Either in game 1 or game 2, them having the survival brace meant I couldn't 1-hit KO the Dragapult, which was a huge issue. In this game, he ended up putting the survival brace on his Pidgeot EX. So he was able to utilize Pidgeot EX all throughout the match because I couldn't 1-hit KO it, because if I'm wasting a turn trying to chase down the Pidgeot, that's a turn I'm not taking prizes, that's a turn I'm not like accelerating my my prize map and just my life, you know, for a lack of better words. So unfortunately, survival brace in game 1 was an issue for me because I had to try and play around that and I just wasn't able to, and I was making misplays. Game 2, we put it on the Pidgeot, so that saved him there. But I was just able to pull out the Clefairy play by the end of it, and I was warning him several times throughout the match because this is, as you guys know, a common thing amongst Gardevoir players, and no ill intent or offense to Michael, but Gardevoir players are very slow. They take a lot of time to make their actions. As you guys know, refinements can take 30 seconds at times. So I warned my opponent many times that he's playing too slow, he needs to pick it up. Some of the actions were just too long. And it was also one of his first times playing Gardevoir as well. Or not Gardevoir, Dragapult. Why did I say Gardevoir? Dragapult was one of the first times playing Dragapult, I believe. But yeah, Dragapult is the same thing too. Dragapult players can also take quite a bit of time, similar to how players would have to agonize over refinements. The Dragapult players also have to agonize between what they're sending to the bottom of their deck and what's going to go into their hand from the recon from Dracloak. Game 2, I won it, and then going into game number 3, we had, I believe, 5 minutes left for game 3, and then it would go into overtime, and then because you have to have a defined winner for top cut, we would go into sudden death rules. So he kind of threw the set by not conceding earlier. So game 3, it went all the way down to sudden death, and this deck excels at taking prize cards compared to Dragapult. Dragapults are really good at taking massive board wipes, 4 prize turns, you know, but my deck, Joltik, you're able to just go hard and go fast with Iron Hands and Pikachu, and of course Clefairy as well. So by the end of this round, we ended up being up in prizes, and we win. That's how it works in sudden death. If there's a prize differential, the person who is in the lead wins the game, and that was that. So we win our top 4 match against Dragapult. And now let's get to the finals. The finals was a scary matchup. It was a deck that I keep having very close games against, and this deck was the Tank Terapagos deck, the one that has the Bouffalance in there. I used to call it Defensive Terapagos, but I think Tank Terapagos sounds catchier, so we're just going to call it Tank Terapagos with the Bouffalance. And this was a fun match because game 1, he wins the coin toss, chooses first, no fan Rotom, and I was just able to dominate game 1. It was super easy. We just set up our Joltik, and then we set up our hands, and then you set up the Pika, and you're cooking. So we cooked him game 1. He could have scooped it up after 5 minutes, but he was still trying to play it out and try and get more deck knowledge from me. So I was trying to conceal what kind of cards and plays I could make. But he scooped after 10 minutes. So going into game number 2 was way more competitive. He was able to actually have the turn 1 Fan Rotom, and he got perfectly set up, like everything, the double Bouffalance, the Hoot, all the shenanigans, everything was there. My turn, I brought the pain, I brought my A game. I got equally just as set up. I believe this matchup is not as bad if you're able to take down one of the Hoots that they have on board. Like if they get double Hoots, it's a little scary, but because they really value getting the Bouffalance on the board, he did prize a Hoot, so he was only able to set up one Hoot, or he just chose to, you know, not set up the other Hoot. So the Hoots not hitting the board is very punishing, because if you knock out one, then they don't have access to their full deck like every single turn like they always do with the Hoot Noctowl Jewel Seeking Engine. This matchup was really close because we had to play around the fact that with a Bravery Charm and the Bouffalance on the board, I think Terapagos effectively has 340 HP. So he was actively playing around the fact that if I did have Clefairy and a full board and he had a full board, I could swing for 340 with Clefairy and instantly knock out his thing. So that also prevented him from playing a little more aggressive by benching extra Hoothoots later on after he's taken prizes. Very, very helpful to have the Clefairy in this matchup because both decks like to go very wide. So Clefairy is definitely like an MVP attacker. Blood Moon is also really, really good as well because you can one-shot their EX Pokemon like Fez or Mew. I had to get creative with my Pikachu plays as well because the Pikachu can tank a hit. So once it would tank a hit, I'd let it run away and then have something else swing into the active and be very useful. It was a super, super close game. I hit him with that Iono to 1 or 2. And on my very last turn of the game, it was funny. All I needed was boss for game. And my hand was like 6 cards. I think I had like 3 bosses orders in hand and then 2 Pokegears. So yeah, we just cooked by the very end of it and we took down the tank Terapagos player to win the booster box of Journey Together. Hey Logan. Hey buddy. Hi. That said, if you guys want to learn about this Miraidon deck, it is so good. I'll teach you all about it. Just click right here on screen. And if you already watched that, then check out the Ampharos EX regional vlog. I brought my favorite deck with Ampharos to the Vancouver regionals, and that was a heartbreaking fun vlog too. Catch you guys in the next video.